just dive into it directly. The responsibility slash fault fallacy allows people to pass off the responsibility for solving their problems to others. This ability to alleviate responsibility through blame gives people a temporary high and a feeling of moral righteousness. Unfortunately, one side effect of the internet and social media is that it's become easier than ever to push responsibility for even the tiniest of infractions onto some other group or person. In fact, this kind of public blame slash shame game has become popular. In certain crowds, it's even seen as cool. Yeah. The public sharing of injustices garners far more attention and emotional outpouring than most other events on social media, rewarding people who are able to perpetually feel victimized with ever-growing amount of attention and sympathy. Victimhood chic is in style on both the right and the left today. Yep, yep, yep. Among both the rich and the poor. In fact, this may be the first time in human history that every single demographic group has felt unfairly victimized simultaneously, and they are all riding the highs of the moral indignation that comes along with it. Yeah, yeah, yes. These observations are so true. You know, the conservative Christians, like the right wing Christians, say we are being oppressed. The left wing feminists, queer people, they are saying we are being victimized. In some contexts, of course, there are situations when some of those claims are true, but it has become like fashion, just, oh, I'm the victim, oh, injustice everywhere. Right now, anyone who is offended about anything, whether it's the fact that a book about racism was assigned in a university class, or that Christmas trees were banned at the local mall, or the fact that taxes were raised 0.5% on investment funds, feels as though they're being oppressed in some way, and therefore deserve to be outraged and to have a certain amount of attention. The current media environment both encourages and perpetuates these reactions because, after all, it's good for business. The writer and media commentator Ryan Holiday refers to this as outrage porn. Rather than report on real stories and real issues, the media find it much easier and more profitable to find something mildly offensive, broadcast it to a wide audience, generate outrage, and then broadcast that outrage back across the population in a way that outrages yet another part of the population. Okay, 6 viewers, like please if you like the content. We're reading the subtle art of not giving a fuck, so your likes and comments are most welcome. This triggers a kind of echo of bullshit pinging back and forth between two imaginary sides, meanwhile distracting everyone from real societal problems. No wonder we're more politically polarized than ever before. The biggest problem with victimhood chic is that it sucks attention away from actual victims. It's like the boy who cried wolf. The more people there are who proclaim themselves victims over tiny infractions, the harder it becomes to see who the real victims actually are. Repent, Jesus. Okay. Hi, Jesus. How are you doing? People get addicted to feeling offended all the time because it gives them a high. Being self righteous and morally superior feels good. As political cartoonist Tim Kreider put it in a New York Times op-ed, quote, outrage is like a lot of other things that feel good, but over time devour us from the inside out. And it's even more insidious than most vices because we don't even consciously acknowledge that it's a pleasure, end quote. Mhm. Okay. Okay, I think I need to read this again. So I'll do this both for me and for you guys. Outrage is like a lot of other things that feel good, but over time devour us from the inside out. Mm. And it's even more insidious, yeah, than most vices, because we don't even consciously acknowledge that it's a pleasure. Hmm. But that's an interesting thought. Actually, I find myself in such situations where my brain chooses. I think it's not even the brain. Emotions, there are some emotions of anger, of righteousness. I'm right, you're wrong. Here's the advice. And I catch myself regularly on the fact that my consciousness, my attention, is sometimes being caught by those intrusive ideas. Like I'm mentally speaking to someone and giving them a point about how wrong they are on this. Um, you know, so the maybe it's about training, mental training also. The untrained brain seems to enjoy uh, uh, different forms of pleasure, which includes pleasure from being angry about something. You know, outrage, what is it? It's a form of anger. Yeah, you are angry at something or at someone for something. It doesn't even matter for what. And I'm glad that I have developed this skill in my mind. The skill of observing is this meta consciousness. Like I'm not only the thinker, I'm also the observer who is observing the thoughts and the thinking process of the thinker. You see, that's a very beautiful thing, and it's very in some way very liberating. It gives me more control, more joy. I could even say I wanted to say the word uh, happiness over on regarding the fact that I can catch myself in those instances and choose not to follow that path. Doesn't matter how long I do that. Sometimes I catch myself right at the beginning when that thought wants to take my attention span. Sometimes I catch myself when I already spoke with someone in my mind, explained to them something, got this feeling of righteousness and righteous anger, like you are doing this thing because you're manipulative or you have the victim identity, you are wrong, that's bad. Yeah, I'm sharing my mental thoughts. And then I catch myself and I'm like, hey, hold on. It's not happening right now. When the situation comes, sure, we can do that. But right now, it's not there. And I was walking like 20 or 25 minutes ago, I was walking outside. And several times when I caught myself on those instances, what I did, I just brought my attention back to reality. And reality can mean very simple things. For instance, how my feet are walking, how I'm using my feet, yeah, the sensations within my body, how I set my foot on the ground, and then the next one, how my muscles are feeling. You can follow your breath, you can follow your body, you can concentrate on specific body parts like your legs or your feet. And when you do that, you connect with reality, with truth, with what is, yeah, as opposed to your imagination. Yeah, imagination plus memory, the mental waves, as they say in yoga, yeah, the vrittis, for those of you who know Yoga Sutra and stuff. And that feels so good, that feels so nice that I have this ability. I have this ability of choosing where to put my attention. you know that's it. Okay, let's continue with the book. But part of living in a democracy and a free society is that we all have to deal with views and people we don't necessarily like. That's simply the price we pay. You could even say it's the whole point of the system. And it seems more and more people are forgetting that. Yeah, yeah. We should pick our battles carefully, while simultaneously attempting to empathize a bit with the so called enemy. We should approach the news and media with a healthy dose of skepticism and avoid painting those who disagree with us with a broad brush. Yeah, we should prioritize values of being honest, fostering transparency, and welcoming doubt over the values of being right, feeling good, and getting revenge. Those democratic values are harder to maintain amidst the constant noise of a networked world, but we must accept the responsibility and nurture them regardless. The future stability of our political systems may depend on it. I agree with those remarks. I see, for instance, that even I disagree with some things, with maybe a lot of things that Donald Trump does, but sometimes the way the left depicts him or Elon Musk as those devils. Sean Penn, if I'm not mistaken, it was Sean Penn who recently said that Trump and Musk, the Republicans, the conservatives, and the many voters in the United States are like Al Qaeda, and Trump is like Bin Laden. It's very radical. It's well pretty far from reality. Yeah, if even if Trump's grows to become a dictator, which probably is not gonna happen in the U.S. Because the systems are in place, they work. Last time when Trump tried to remain in power, he couldn't achieve that, yeah, with his mob. So, criticizing is fine, but when you over exaggerate, you lose credibility. Like, I cannot believe you, I because I analyze, yeah. So you lose credibility with rational people, and then you kind of divide, more. Yes, you bring more division. Like, I'm the right one, these folks are the wrong ones, and they are the enemy, they are terrorists. um if it wasn't false news, if I remember it correctly, and Sean Penn said that, then it's very radical, yeah. And you kind of call terrorists 51 or 55, I don't remember how many percent of people who voted for someone whom you did not really support, right? Yeah, so avoid painting those who disagree with us with a broad brush. Yeah, I did definitely agree on that. And honesty is a very important value. Next subheading, and with this we will finish chapter 5, is called There is no how in brackets. A lot of people might hear all of this and then say something like, okay, but how? I get that my values suck and that I avoid responsibility for all of my problems, and that I'm an entitled little shit who thinks the world should revolve around me and every inconvenience I experience, but how do I change? Unquote. And to this I say, in my best Yoda impersonation, do or do not. There is no how. You are already choosing in every moment of every day what to give a fuck about. So change is as simple as choosing to give a fuck about something else. Yeah, just, the thing I was describing with me choosing to bring my attention back to my body, my breath, my feet, to the beauty around me, the beautiful trees, the beautiful sky, yeah, and observing instead of giving more judgment, like observing, seeing, yeah, directly using my senses rather than allowing my imagination and memory to control my thoughts. take me away, further away from reality, into my own dreamland, into my own heaven and hell. Okay. It's not easy because you're going to feel like a loser, a fraud, a dumbass at first. You're going to be nervous. You're going to freak out. You may get pissed off at your wife or your friends or your father in the process. These are all side effects of changing your values, of changing the fucks you're giving, but they are inevitable. It's simple but really, really hard. Let's look at some of these side effects. You're going to feel uncertain. I guarantee it. Should I really give this up? Is this the right thing to do? Giving up a value you're dependent on for years is going to feel disorienting, as if you don't really know right from wrong anymore. This is hard, but it's normal. Next, you'll feel like a failure. You've spent half your life measuring yourself by that old value. So when you change your priorities, change your metrics, and stop behaving in the same way, you'll fail to meet that old trusted metric and thus immediately feel like some sort of fraud or nobody. This is also normal and also uncomfortable. And certainly you will weather rejections. Many of the relationships in your life were built around the values you've been keeping. So the moment you change those values, the moment you decide that studying is more important than partying, that getting married and having a family is more important than rampant sex, that working a job you believe in is more important than money, your turnaround will reverberate out through your relationships, and many of them will blow up in your face. This too is normal and this too will be uncomfortable. These are necessary, though painful, side effects of choosing to place your fucks elsewhere, in a place far more important and more worthy of your energies. As you reassess your values, you will be met with internal and external resistance along the way. More than anything, you will feel uncertain. You will wonder if what you're doing is wrong. But as we'll see, this is a good thing. Okay, that's the end of chapter 5. Again, guys, likes and comments are welcome. You can also share this live or this video if you watch it later. And you can subscribe to my channel like with paid subscription and get access to my course on practical philosophy. You can get access to super chat. You can also send me super likes without subscribing. So, uh, let's support each other. Yeah, I'm giving you my time, my energy, my intonation, my knowledge, and it would be nice for you to give back something to me. So it's a win-win. Yeah, so that you're not just a consumer, but you also give something. I think we'll, yes, get to chapter 6 now. The title of chapter 6 is You're Wrong About Everything, and then in brackets, but so am I. Let's see how long is it. Okay. 500 years ago, cartographers believed that California was an island. Oh, okay. Doctors believed that slicing a person's arm open or causing bleeding anywhere could cure disease. Oh, yeah. Scientists believed that fire was made out of something called phlogiston. Okay, phlogiston. Women believed that rubbing dog urine on their face had anti-aging benefits. Astronomers believed that the sun revolved around the earth. When I was a little boy, I used to think mediocre was a kind of vegetable that I didn't want to eat. I thought my brother had found a secret passageway in my grandmother's house because he could get outside without having to leave the bathroom. Spoiler alert, there was a window. I also thought that when my friend and his family visited Washington, B.C., not D.C., but B.C., they they had somehow traveled back in time to when the dinosaurs lived, because after all, BC was a long time ago. As a teenager, I told everybody that I didn't care about anything, when the truth was I cared about way too much. Other people ruled my world without my even knowing. I thought happiness was a destiny and not a choice. I thought love was something that just happened, not something that you worked for. I thought being cool had to be practiced and learned from others rather than invented for yourself. When I was with my first girlfriend, I thought we would be together forever. And then, when that relationship ended, I thought I'd never feel the same way about a woman again. And then, when I felt the same way about a woman again, I thought that love sometimes just wasn't enough. And then I realized that each individual gets to decide what is enough, and that love can be whatever we let it be. Every step of the way, I was wrong about everything. Throughout my life, I've been flat out wrong about myself, others, society, culture, the world, the universe, everything. And I hope that will continue to be the case for the rest of my life. Just as present Mark can look back on past Mark's every flaw and mistake, one day future Mark will look back on present Mark's assumptions, including the contents of this book, and notice similar flaws. Mark is the name of the author, yeah, Mark Manson. And that will be a good thing because that will mean I have grown. There's a famous Michael Jordan quote about him failing over and over and over again, and that's why he succeeded. Well, I'm always wrong about everything, over and over and over again, and that's why my life improves. Growth is an endlessly iterative process. When we learn something new, we don't go from wrong to right. Rather, we go from wrong to slightly less wrong. And when we learn something additional, we go from slightly less wrong to slightly less wrong than that, and then to even less wrong than that, and so on. We are always in the process of approaching truth and perfection without actually ever reaching truth or perfection. Okay, that's an interesting point of view. We shouldn't seek to find the ultimate right answer for ourselves, but rather we should seek to chip away at the ways that we're wrong today so that we can be a little less wrong tomorrow. When viewed from this perspective, personal growth can actually be quite scientific. Our values are our hypothesis. This behavior is good and important, that other behavior is not. Our actions are the experiments. The resulting emotions and thought patterns are our data. Very interesting. Okay, I'll read this part again, these last two sentences. Our values are our hypothesis. This behavior is good and important. That other behavior is not. Yeah, he's just giving hypothesis. Our actions are the experiments. The resulting emotions and thought patterns are our data. I think this is so valuable. I think I need to read this myself several times. I think I'll just fold this page here. Yeah, so that I revisit this little paragraph again because it's very good. There is no correct dogma or perfect ideology. There is only what you experience has shown you to be right for you. And even then, the experience is probably somewhat wrong too. And because you and I are everybody else all oh, because you and I and everybody else all have different needs and personal histories and life circumstances, we will all inevitably come to differing correct answers about what our lives mean and how they should be lived. My correct answer involves traveling alone for years on end, living in obscure places, and laughing at my own farts. Or at least that was the correct answer up until recently. that answer will change and evolve because I change and evolve. And as I grow older and more experienced, how wrong I chip away at how wrong I am, becoming less and less wrong every day. I think, yeah, I totally agree with this. This is why I like the philosophy of objectivism because in the philosophy of objectivism, they say the the only absolute is reason. What that means in practice is you have to always analyze. And what I liked in this chapter, like why I folded this page here, because of how scientific he was on this paragraph. Our values are our hypothesis. Yeah, the behavior. Okay, values are hypotheses. Our actions are the experiments, and the resulting emotions and thought patterns are our data. I think this is, so good that it is worth, creating a visual around. I might create something on my YouTube channel as well because this is very good. So you can subscribe to the channel and you can check the community tab. Um, Maybe within the upcoming week, I might do something because it's very useful. And so when we say the only absolute is reason, that means you have to think all the time. And one of my favorite things is life is an important value. Also in objectivism, your own life is a very important value. Yeah, your own pursuit of happiness. However, if you consciously, rationally choose to risk your life for some other values, that's completely okay. You know, in one of the novels of Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, one of her best-selling novels, the main heroine, Dagny Taggart, kills a man. She kills a guard who refuses to allow her to enter a place, a factory, where her lover, a very intelligent businessman, was kept hostage. See, uh, although life is a very important value, sometimes you choose to take away someone's life because maybe they may harm you or your loved one. And in the previous lives, I gave you the uh, Akbar restaurant problem that I invented. I'll repeat that in this live again, okay? But before that, I remind you guys to like the live. Right now, I see 0 likes. So, if you're watching, if you're enjoying this stuff, please, likes and comments are welcome. Send them my way. So, Akbar, a restaurant conundrum or problem, yeah? A hypothetical situation. So, suppose you will agree with me that life is an important value. Yes, that everybody's life is valuable. Black lives matter, yellow lives matter, white lives matter, rainbow lives matter. Yeah, all lives matter. Life is an important value. You don't want to be killed and you don't want to kill others. However, you're at a restaurant and everybody you love is at that restaurant. And on top of that, your most favorite celebrities, Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie, I don't know, some rappers, some actors, writers, philosophers, whomever you admire, are there with you celebrating your birthday. And then someone comes in, and that guy, you are the only person in the room who has a gun. And that guy is shouting Allah Akbar, and you have like 10, 15 seconds or a minute, doesn't matter. You have time to choose, like, will you shoot at that guy or will you not? You know? And to make this problem even harder for you, I could say that the guy is maybe a Palestinian refugee or a Muslim refugee. Maybe he's a teenager, he's 15 years old, yeah, but he has this resolve, he has this faith, he's going to do that. In Israel, Unfortunately, people like Jewish people are also sometimes killed by teenager terrorists. Yeah. So, what will you do? Will you choose to shoot at that person and save yourself and everybody you love and admire, friends, family members, celebrities, very intelligent people, etc., etc.? Or you'll say, no, life is the ultimate value, like the witnesses of Jehovah, you know? You'll say, no, I refuse to use gun, I refuse to shoot, let him shoot and kill all of us. So be honest with yourself and analyze, and you can leave a comment in the comments section and tell me what will your choice be. Will you shoot and save yourself and dozens or hundreds of people whom you admire, who bring value, who create value on this planet? They create beautiful songs, beautiful poems, they are successful businessmen and paying their taxes. So will you save those people, or will you choose to just no, 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 let faith or God or whatever decide the outcome, and then everybody, including that Allah Akbar person himself, will be killed through his act of terrorism? So that's the Akbar restaurant problem that I invented, yet a mental experiment to show that even the highest values, like the value of life, which is important, and I agree that, it's not good to kill people, yeah? But even that can be questioned. Or another example, you're a Ukrainian soldier and Russian terrorists come and want to destroy your country. Will you say, oh no, life is the highest of all values? I refuse to shoot at anyone, including at invaders and enemies. Hmm? And what will happen to you, your family, your country, if you reject, and your community, if you identify as a woman, as an LGBT person? What will happen to your community, your local community, other Ukrainian women, other LGBT people, if you choose not to defend yourself and your country? You know? Okay, so let's continue. Many people become so obsessed with being right about their life and they never end up actually living it. A certain woman is single and lonely and wants a partner, but she never gets out of the house and does anything about it. Yeah. A certain man works his ass off and believes he deserves a promotion, but he never explicitly says that to his boss. Amen. Amen. They are told that they're afraid of failure, of rejection, of someone saying no. Yeah. But that's not it. Sure, rejection hurts. Failure sucks. But there are particular certainties that we hold on to, certain certainties that we're afraid to question or let go of, values that have given our lives meaning over the years. That woman doesn't get out there and date because she would be forced to confront her beliefs about her own desirability. That man doesn't ask for the promotion because he would have to confront his beliefs about what his skills are actually worth. It's easier to sit in a painful certainty that nobody would find you attractive, that nobody appreciates your talents, than to actually test those beliefs and find out for sure. Mm. Beliefs of this sort, that I'm not attractive enough, so why bother, or that my boss is an asshole, so why bother, are designed to give us moderate comfort now by mortgaging greater happiness and success later on. Mm. I think it was good, so I'll read it. Beliefs of this sort are designed to give us moderate comfort now by mortgaging greater happiness and success later on. Very nice idea. Yeah, yeah. They're terrible long term strategies. Yet we cling to them because we assume we're right, because we assume we already know what's supposed to happen. In other words, we assume we know how the story ends. Okay, sorry about that Wi-Fi issues, so I'll just read again. Certainty, this is very important. Maybe I'll stop here so that I read this same paragraph next time because it's so good. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Okay? Nothing is for certain until it has already happened. And even then, it's still debatable. That's why accepting the inevitable imperfections of our values is necessary for any growth to take place. Okay? Instead of striving for certainty, we should be in constant search of doubt. Doubt about our own beliefs, doubt about our own feelings, doubt about what the future may hold for us unless we get out there and create it for ourselves. Doesn't this make sense? Of course, this does. Yeah, it does make sense. Instead of looking to be right all the time, we should be looking for how we're wrong all the time because we are. Being wrong opens us up to the possibility of change. Being wrong brings the opportunity for growth. It means not cutting your arm open to cure a cold or splashing dog piss on your face to look young again. It means not thinking mediocre is a vegetable and not being afraid to care about things. Yeah, very beautiful. Very rational, you know. So I want to stop here because, again, those paragraphs are very valuable. Next time I'll continue from here. And we were reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, number one New York Times bestseller. Okay. Subscribe to my channel, okay? Like, comment. A paid subscription is also available. Yeah, and answer my, Akbar restaurant problem. What would you do in that situation? Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with me. High five, and see you hopefully tomorrow. Have a good one, and Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it. Bye bye.